Is the press a product or a service? Welcome to Law and Society. Please subscribe. I want to talk to you today about what the press is about. Corporate media has made the press into a product when it's really at its most functional state. The press is a service. Before the internet came along, people subscribed to local and national newspapers, and physical newspapers would be regularly delivered at home. Now all that content, along with a whole lot more from a whole lot more sources, lives on the internet. Before the internet, we paid a nominal amount for basic and even small papers. That model did not carry over to the internet. Initially, everything on the internet was free, other than connecting to the internet. Many newspapers started websites and initially did not require subscriptions. They built on the premise that the internet is free and perhaps the best and biggest equalizer since public education. While we paid for the services that connected us to the internet, the sources we got the news from were free. That has changed. In the last 25 years, the internet has become fully monetized and established as a virtual medium through which we conduct our daily lives. It is both a Pandora's box and the chest of gold at the end of the rainbow. But news organizations both led the trend to go digital and trailed in monetizing their content. Most internet users had already become habituated with free information. Many news companies propped up virtually and took the place of traditional news media, whether it be local news stations and newspapers or national TV and news companies. Today, most information is free and available on social media and through search engines. So why pay for news at all? Well, because it is work. Conveying information that accurately informs the general public of current affairs is serious work and takes time, skill, and patience. It takes a basic working knowledge of history and ongoing trends. But before reasonable information consumers came around to the reality that producing news takes work and should be funded, in the first 15 years of the internet, the world grew entitled to free news because that's how the internet started and it still largely operates. That resulted in news companies shuttering because of loss of advertising income and consumer subscriptions, or they were bought out by large corporate entities like the Sinclair Group for pennies on the dollar. Because traditional news media apparently had been destroyed by the internet. In the last 15 years, corporations have bought up news agency after news agency and stymied the truth based on corporate interests rather than the public interest. Social media rose amid the transition in humanity's information ecosphere. News organizations and journalists flocked to these platforms and began being information directly to the public for free. Because that's how social animals work. We tell others what we know. We build community around common ideas. But in a way, by giving away the information for free, content creators reserve themselves the idea that their content was of little to no value, that the work they did, that the story they told was not worth anybody's time or money. By the time we realized this, corporations had bought up most news organizations and turned vehicles of truth into vehicles of doubt. Information turned into misinformation and disinformation. Independent media grew and continues to grow in this transition period, mostly digital, slowly monetizing, and unburdened by corporate interests. But not just independent media. Because of exponential advances in internet speed and information technology, engaged citizens and scholars also started finding community on the internet. Today's information ecosphere is a transition, deconstructed from old traditions of physical newspapers at a nominal cost. Slowly, creators, engaged citizens, scholars, experts, and independent media are finding our voices, being supported by social media platforms like YouTube and Substack. For those of us who remain engaged and offer our perspectives into the public domain, some companies are helping us capitalize that work without any cost to the consumer. More creator platforms should do what YouTube does. It gives everybody a chance to make money from advertisements shown on our channels. It provides an incentive to interact with the world and build a community that is still largely free. YouTube's Structure and Partnership Program provides the most accessible and beneficial creation platform in the world. That is part of the reason why YouTube is ubiquitous in daily digital life. Independent news companies that post on YouTube and make the most of their content free provide the public with alternatives to corrupted corporate media. The equilibrium we need to find is a place where news information is free to consumers and funded by commerce that runs parallel to content, like advertisements, subscriptions, and sponsorships, like in the old days, but deconstructed into a million pieces where the consumer gets to seek, find, and choose what's worth their time and money, and where the content creators speaking about current affairs have the responsibility to speak the truth and convey information to educate, not misinformation to inadvertently misinform, or disinformation to deliberately create false narratives. For content creators, it is important to remember, or at least I do, that what we are doing is not just creating community, but also providing a service. We are not products. Our work product is in service of the bigger picture. So we have to be responsible and, above all, stick with facts and the truth. With that said, thank you for listening. Please subscribe and like, and I will talk to you soon.